Me and the boys was sitting around drinking, we was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. Then we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more.
So on today's episode of Garage Beers, we're going to be running electricity to the chicken coop. It's right now fall. It's getting cold at night. Mornings are cold. That means winter's on the way. Now chickens can usually handle a fairly decent amount of cold, because when you heat a chicken coop, you don't want it to be comfortable in there for you. It needs to be comfortable for the chickens, which it's pretty damn cold. But when it drops to like minus 30, minus 40 degrees Celsius, which is however much in Fahrenheit, that's really cold. So I'm looking at a few different options to heat it. So for some of what I'm looking at heating, possibly just putting a couple of brooder lamps up top. Nothing much. I do want a regular light up there so I can see what's going on when I'm actually doing whatever, cleaning water. As well, I need to be able to have a plug so I can put a heated water in there. And enough so I could maybe even put 2 in, depending on, because we want to upgrade our chicken operation more than these 2 guys in a rooster. And there's a duck out there, but that duck's he's about to have something happen. It's going to be delicious. But, so like I was saying, brooder lamps, but I mean, brooder lamps there's a lot of reviews that they cause fires, right? You got something really hot up there, sawdust, feathers, dust, all that. That starts fires. So some of the other options, maybe a higher infrared mount, something that won't tip over. And I do want to kind of higher up, because I mean, that's where they roost. Maybe something a little more mid, because I don't want anything low. I want it high, and I want it just kind of where they're going to be. I might have something set up closer to the actual, I'm going to still draft proof the box, the nesting box, but maybe something in there so when they're hopefully laying me my eggs, they'll be a lot more comfortable. So that's some of the things I'm looking at. And like I said, about a 30 amp draw, and then for future, have set up so for future operations, I can run total of 60 amp, maybe a small sub panel. Like I said, I'm talking to an actual electrician to make sure I do it right, because I don't want the whole thing to catch fire. Those birds aren't going to get warm until they're ready for an oven. So when the trench was dug, it wasn't dug in the straight line that I was hoping it was going to be dug. Kind of took a little bit of an extra bend because of how it was for him trying to make the turns with the skid steer, with the big trencher as well. There's some big humps, and when the wire's got to go up and over, it's going to take a lot more room, because at the other end of the garage, where there's supposed to be at least 5 feet, that's what the electrician wanted, there's not 5 feet. There's maybe 4 or 5 inches. So I'm going to have to get a shovel. I'm going to take care of some of the areas. For example, you see right in there, that's a real high. So it's got to go up over that. Plus there's little smaller hills or little humps along the trench. So I'm going to try to level those out, take some of the dirt out, so it's going to lie flat, because it's going to require less cable to go up and over. Right now the trench is dug at about 2 feet deep. So it's still deep enough so I can still drive over it with vehicles, like all that. If it was a high traffic area, say my driveway, I probably want to go a lot deeper. Mainly because if you drive over, the ground is flexing. You don't want it to pull, all that bad stuff. 2 feet should be fine though, because really I'm driving quads on it, the little go-karts, the tractor whenever I'm mowing the grass. But that's about it. So you don't need to go super duper deep. 2 feet should be fine. Unless, like I said, it's really high traffic with heavy equipment, that kind of stuff. There's 2 things I gotta lay. There's the whole the 3 wires, red, white, and blue, or red, white, and black. As well, there's a ground wire. I'm gonna lay that guy next. But before I get too crazy, I'm gonna go grab a shovel so that I can flatten that out, because as you can see here, that needs a lot more, because that's not the bottom, which means we barely make it up. It needs to get up to about the top of that giant ass weed at least, so we can go into the garage and we can run it into my sub panel. Well, as a quick interlude to powering the chicken coop, because we had a trencher. I don't know if you've checked out one of my other videos where we actually set up irrigation to our trees. We decided to use that trencher while we had it. So what we did, So that way we're gonna have a hose sticking up there, so I can attach a garden hose to there. Maybe even set up just like a small manifold, so if we ever wanna grow something besides grass and weeds in our little flower bed, then we can run water into all that. But for the interim, this way I don't have that stuff going across the driveway. I rolled it all the way out. I'm just gonna slice, use a coupler, put it together. If you want a little more about how I put that together, go check out my other video for irrigation. But it's pretty cool, because while I'm waiting for the electrician, I'm just gonna backfill that trench because I just laid the line. And yeah, slowly coming along. No point making a video on just filling in a hole. You guys can do that on your own. So we're in the chicken coop right now. I got my 2 little cozy heaters. They're kind of up high because the birds mostly hang up there and there. If we get more, they may end up using that bottom rung there. But I can move these real easy. Just if I want to put, I can put that one down lower. I can put that one lower, one high, one low. Whatever it is, we should be fine. Again, they're only going to go on when it gets like that -30, -40 kind of Celsius here in Old Saskatchewan. I'm not going to go with the heated water just from a little bit that I'm talking to people. But what I'm going to do is, because I have that big guy there up top, I'm going to mount just a heat lamp there with the cage. So it's going to be out of the way of any sort of flying chickens that may come that way. They're generally not going to fly from there up to there, but we'll still make sure I have a cage on it just in case. But this way I'll be able to heat the coop just with that, and it'll be just right over that, the water, so it's not going to freeze over. Now, for the outside, because like I said, I'm going to run the 60 amp. So I do have a 60 amp fuse that we're going to plug into the garage to kind of power everything. And you can see he's got the plastic conduit to go down, make sure everything's safe, weatherproof box. And then we'll put whatever fuse we need to do. What I'm thinking for a circuit is we'll run the heaters off and the light off one. And then off one plug, the next plug, which is the one that's going to be around here, that'll run the heating lamp. And then I can plug something else in if I want. We're also thinking about running an exterior plug, because what I'm thinking is I can fill up that water guy and put a heater in there, so that way I'm not carrying buckets back and forth. Fill it up once as often as I need to, keep it from freezing. It's just an idea. Either way, I got a plug on the outside. That's her for now. All right, so here's what we got done so far. So inside, well, it's all got it all hooked up. Just got to plug in the breaker. Like I said, 60 amp line. Probably run 60 amps so we can plug in everything we need and then some. We got 2 big tech cables going in and 1 outdoor plug, so that if I want, I can plug in whatever I want. You know, if I want to put a heater for that, put a small light up there, tools, whatever it is. We'll have to repaint that guy so it doesn't swell up and get all rotten and messed up. Now let's go take a look on the inside. Chicken's ready for the morning. So as you can see, it comes in, and we got these big heavy duty plugs, and the big thing is because we wanted something to be dust proof, because there's going to be kicking up a lot of dust, feathers, all that other good stuff. To prevent any sort of fire, we wanted to put that big heavy duty plug. Now what we're doing, so as you can tell, that's going to run just that light there. It's like a little pot light. Big thing is still nice low profile, so if they're going to fly off there, they can hit. There's not anything they can really wreck. Again, still really heavy duty. Might look like a little bit of overkill. Remember, not so much the power, because we do got to keep it dust proof and all that other stuff. Want to avoid a fire. We go around. We have a plug right there, and how it's set up, we can actually still go ahead and plug them in. I don't know if you can see at the bottom, so you got the little hole. So that way I can run my plugs in there, still protected from any dust, stuff like that. We're going to be putting another one over there, because we get the big heat lamp. That's going to be over top of that. So when I was looking at heated poultry waters, they're all kind of small. Like the biggest I can get is a 3 gallon. And since we're going to be putting a whole whack ton of birds, not just these 3, I'm going to want more water. So with just that going over top of that, it's going to be able to create enough heat for us so that we don't have to worry about frozen water. We are also going to put in another switch. So we'll have this switch will be for the regular light, and then we'll be running a switch for that guy so that we can have that light on a switch. That way I don't have to worry about a plug dangling, stuff like that when I'm not using it. Again, I'm only going to be using this right there for when it's actually cold enough to warrant it. For the amount of birds we're going to be getting, we need to, it's going to end up creating a lot of heat as it is. So no switch for that guy because those individual have switches. I'm just going to zap strap the cord along so it's nice and tight so they can't get caught on it. Obviously the sharp end down so the birds don't hurt themselves, and close as I can to the back. So those heaters, when it gets super cold, this if I notice the water starting to freeze up, and we got all the cabling. So for finer details, not much I can offer. I'm not the guy installing it, but like I said, I'm getting an electrician to do lots of it because I don't want to start a fire. However, I mean, it is pretty easy. Positive, positive, negative, negative, and then you do have to ground it out. It's usually pretty self-explanatory to kind of figure that out as well. Just make sure you're doing, I'm not throwing in just regular old plugs. You know, we're kind of over-engineering at the best of times anyways, mainly because I don't want to start a fire. Put a lot of work, a lot of effort, so that's what we're going to do. And the plus side, if we keep doing it, we get a lot of birds. We can keep getting eggs, and we'll be getting a lot. We ordered a ton of birds because we are expecting a bunch to die off. There's a bit of a story behind that, but if they do last and we are able to keep them all alive, that means we'll be putting about 70 some odd birds in here plus out there, so should be good. And we'll see what the next stop is going to be. He's going to finish up this. And then way out there, we'll be going over how we're going to connect it all to the garage. Alright, so here's what the finished interior looks like. So the heater's still in place. You can see I just got a zap strap there going across. Now, this isn't quite ideal because it is sticking out from the wall a little bit, but just due to the length of the cord, that's kind of what I'm limited with. I'm hoping not too much issue because, yes, birds may be up here. I'm not expecting too many to be up there just because there's not much room. So far, like with only 3 birds, there's only up there, or where they seem to be hanging out, sometimes along here. But, you know, we'll figure it out. Obviously, there's poop there, so I mean, they have hung out there a bit. So we just gotta, I'll keep an eye on it. So, like, you got down here, so these are pretty much just exterior plugs. So, just fits in real nice. And you can see right up here, you got a slot for the cords. Just clicks. This moves so this way the cords aren't being forced down. Over here, we got everything else put in. So, like I said, the light over top the water, keep it freezing when I need. And then as you can see, that plug is actually on a switch, so I don't have to worry about that cord just dangling wherever when I'm not using it. And that one is going to be for that light. The breaker setup, so essentially one breaker is going to be working this plug and the light. Another breaker will be that plug, and we have one more plug that's going to be outside, and that's going to be that breaker there. Just like that. Same as the other ones. Nice and weatherproof, so we shouldn't have any issues. He did tell me that he didn't bring all the breakers. So as you can see right there, he's got a 15 or 20. He's probably just going to throw another one in. Probably just another 15 amp. Because I do believe that's a 20 amp, unless he's making it that's what I believe it is. Possibly a 30 to run that out there. But I think it's just going to be another 15 just to run whatever. He's currently in the garage and he's wiring it up to the main power source. Alright, here's the last of power. So it comes in going along the roof. If you're gonna ask like why don't I have it going through the rafters, you could do that. I don't give really any cares about what my garage looks like aesthetically. I'm more function over fashion. So if anything ever needs to get changed, moved, whatever, this is a lot easier to deal with. So that's why I chose to do this. Maybe save myself a couple feet of wire, but mainly because I just don't mind. Now, it's all going to there. I'm not going to bother taking that apart so you can show people what they can do. If you already know how to do it, then you know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, I recommend, again, getting a professional. If you screw that up, you can set your whole building on fire, you can electrocute yourself, make a really fancy light show. I mean, if you already know how to do it, fine. If you don't and you want to learn, go find a professional. I'm not going to be the guy that told you how to do it. What we did have to do is there's literally, because this is a 100 amp sub box coming from the house, we're pretty much at max now. I need to relabel, just put new things on so we can see what is what. We got it all figured out where everything is. I pretty much got just enough with so I can run I'm one day going to be running a hot water heater through here. Boiler. So I've still got the 240 volt and the 30 amp going for what's going to be for that. So that's still in reserve. Plus I'll have enough if I need any more, an extra 15 amp. Well, it already has in there for a 120 volt 15 amp breaker, and there's one empty slot for whatever I may choose. I mean, if I ever want to, who knows, put a dedicated plug or something, doesn't matter. If I go any more up from what this is, I'll literally be running another wire from my telepost. So that's pretty much her. Everything's good. Everything's running. No fires, so it hooked up well. And again, getting it done properly. Going in, shielded. We were talking, we wouldn't mind a little bit higher. That's maybe 3 feet off. We haven't gotten a lot of snow. If we do get a lot of snow, I'll just have to remember, keep it clear from there, especially come thaw. And this is ready to get filled in, because it was kind of a bit of a gong show and a dog's breakfast when we kind of made this trench. We'll have to bring in dirt. I got a big dirt pile. It's way over there. We got dirt. I got land. Let's go look at see what it looks like with the lights on. All right, we got it all nice and dark in here. So here's what it looks like. Right here, we've got essentially just a little pot light, LED, so it's not going to put off any heat. This is literally just for light. It's good enough, so if I wanted early morning, I flip that on. I can see what the food's looking like. I can see what the water's looking like. I can even give a quick boo in here. It's more than enough light for me to just see what the hell's going on, especially in the wintertime when it's going to be dark, or first thing in the morning when I check it on. Or when I check on them, I just need to turn on lights. Now, for these guys, so I just strapped it up. That's for that panel. I got underneath here. There's the second one to heat those guys up. And like I said, they are infrared or radiant, whichever one. It doesn't heat up the air, it just heats up the objects that are close to it. So that's going to be that. And then last but not least, we do have a brooder lamp. Now that is a clear bulb. I don't know, I've read mixed reviews for clear versus red. Like I said, it's meant to keep that. Now because it is, I'm kind of thinking I might want to switch to a red one, just because it's a little bit of that darker color. Because I mean, if it is going to be on at night for those really cold nights, because that's really what it's there for. It's not going to be on all the time. It's not really there for a source of actual heat or a source of light. It's only for a source of heat. Apparently, I can get some ceramic bulbs, so literally it's just for heat. So I don't have to worry about messing with light schedules, anything like that. As long as it's 250 watt, because that's what that thing's rated for, that's what we're going. Other than that, like I said, we've literally got a lot of overkill on this. So right now I'm running off like literally 3 different circuits, right? I got one circuit running both those heaters. That light, that's one circuit. All that, and then over there, that plug, which runs that brooder lamp, that's the second circuit. And then I got a third circuit outside. In all reality, you can get away with running this whole setup off of 15 amp. As it stands right now, it's both these heater panels, these Cozy Coop heater panels, they're rated at about 1.8 amp draw, 250 watt bulb. Do quick math, that's going to be another 2 amps coming out of it. So I mean, if you want to go and just kind of round up, 6 amps, 8 on start if it's super cold and is making like a lot of draw, and if nothing else is going out. So in reality, this is a lot of overkill for what an average coop is going to need, right? 150 amp breaker would be more than enough. Even for what the amount of length that I went to for burying all the wire, a lot of guys will literally just run an extension cord. I didn't really want to because of the distance that it's going to be from my garage all the way out to this coop. That's a lot of extension cords. So instead of doing that, getting run over, they're not rated to be buried. Like, they're not protected from the elements, that kind of stuff. That's not really an option for me. For some people, if it's close, yeah, you could. That's still a lot. That could be a lot of draw going through. Extension cords are not meant for permanent structures or permanent wiring. But I mean, some people are going to do it. I wouldn't recommend it. I also don't recommend that you go to this extent as I went to as well. One of the big reasons we kind of overdid everything. I mean, I put a lot of time and effort into this. I want it to last. So yeah, everything is dust proof. Or engineered on the wiring, especially on the circuits, because I want to be able to, I mean, it's way out here. If I want to run a tool, I've got the plug outside. I can run something off of that. I got the big hot water, that water tank. I can run a heater off that. As well from that box, I can literally run, because we do want to set something up. We want to get a couple cows maybe in the future. And we're going to set up something a lot bigger, right? So then we're going to need more lights. We're going to have a much larger water heater for a larger source of water, right? Cows are going to take a lot more water than what these chickens are. So that's why I have a full 60 amp service coming out here. You generally don't need that for just chickens, right? They need very little. If you're going to get much colder than what we're going to get in Saskatchewan, that means you're really far north and you're still going to get away with a 15 amp plug, right? It's not going to be minus 60 forever. And if it is, they don't need to be that warm, right? They do a lot. Especially since we are going to be getting more birds, they're going to produce a lot of heat as it is. For the amount of birds we are going to get, minimum 30, even close to 60. We're going to see how well it all goes, make sure everyone's comfortable. I'm not here at the factory farming, but at the same time, enough birds to make sure, you know, I'm going to get enough eggs for me and for friends, family, all that other kind of stuff. As well as some meat birds. It'll be great. So that's pretty much her in a nutshell. A lot of over-engineering. It is pretty cool. I'm happy with it. It probably costed a lot more than expecting. That wire alone costed about 450 bucks Canadian. Everything else probably looking about another 200-300 plus, like, and that's, you know, cash deal with the electrician. But I got what I wanted. I'm never going to have to redo it. I never have to worry about upgrading later because I want to add more stuff to it or anything like that. I mean, I can straight up put a light outside, front or back, especially, you know, if I want to set something up to keep predators away, I have that option. And I don't know if there's anything else, then if you would do it different, go ahead and let me know. You can comment all as you want. This is what I got, and the internet's not going to really change my mind as to what I have. If you have any other questions, though, go ahead and you can go ahead and put the question in the season's coming. Already got the cold. It's awesome. Post your questions. I'll do my best to answer what I did. I'm not an expert. This is just how I do things. This is not how people should be doing it. I'm by no means an expert, but this is the way I can see it. It's going to work out pretty good. So if you need any ideas for your own chicken coop build, hopefully I'm a little bit of inspiration. All right, till next time.